everybody. As mentioned, I am Sylvia Brune. Unfortunately, I am the CEO of Digmo. And pawaPass, it will come up later. It's an interesting story. So I'm here today to talk to you a bit about my version of ecosystems and why they can't be built fast. You can accelerate all you want, but ecosystems are going to take time anyway. There's this great saying that just because it takes a woman 9 months to make a baby, it doesn't take 9 women 1 month to make a baby. Things take time. So I started off in Africa about 12 years ago. I came here with 88 miles per hour, which was maybe the first seed fund accelerator in Africa, very, very early days. We invested in 45 companies across Cape Town, Nairobi, and Lagos. And those were very, very exciting times. But I'm not actually here today to talk about myself. I'm here to talk about this guy. So this is Creston Book. And Creston, he built companies in Denmark for like 20 years. He had a lot of failures, really funny failures. And when he was kind of trying to figure out what do I do with the rest of my life, he decided to go to Stanford and take a 2-week MBA course. And there he met a Kenyan. And the Kenyan told him about mobile money. And Creston was fascinated with mobile money. He was like, I have to go and check this out. This sounds like an opportunity. So he flew into Nairobi. He made a few investments. He calls them educational investments. So what do you do if you know nothing about a market? You just throw some money at it and see what you learn from that. And I think that there are entrepreneurs, amazing people. You want to find them. You want to throw money at them. But then I think there are super entrepreneurs. And super entrepreneurs are people who have very unique traits, and they're like the rarest thing on planet Earth. I don't know what else is more rare than super entrepreneurs. And I have to read it off, I'm sorry, because I made a list and I think it's important. What defines a super entrepreneur? I think that they have a personal philosophy about business. It's deeply personal to them. Business is personal. It's not just like, oh, I want to build a startup. They love to educate. They love to find great people and nurture them, and they love watching them succeed. They're incredibly competitive. Everything is a war to them. They just want to like wipe out the planet and make sure they succeed. So they're not really ecosystem builders because they kind of just want to beat everybody and be the best. They have a great feel for markets, for risk, for value, for leverage. You know, leverage is the most important thing to them because you can't just create value. You have to capture that value in order to make a sustainable and profitable business. They are constantly observing and learning. They're tossing like 500 million ideas in the air all the time and still manage to focus on what's important. And then they have some really unique skills when it comes to operations and to detail. And for them, it's about like honing in on crazy detail. If you see this picture, we had to rent a space to host our startups at the accelerator in Nairobi. And he decided, because it was 88 miles per hour, you know, the speed that takes you to the future, that he had to build a DeLorean life-size out of scrap metal and put it on the 3rd floor of the Nairobi garage. Because it was about how do you stand out, how do you get noticed, how do you tell people like what we're doing is different and it's crazy and make sure like everybody knows it. I think like hundreds, if not thousands of people have taken pictures next to that DeLorean. That's branding. And I think maybe the most important thing that I've noticed is that they hate cost. They hate expenses. And any chance they get, they try to turn expenses into investment and try to make sure that that investment makes revenue and then profit. So what happens when you manage to attract one of these super entrepreneurs into your area? So this is a bit of an example of what happens. So 88 miles per hour, we started. It was so early, you know, there was like, after the accelerator, there were no investors that were like going to take the next step. And so when one of the companies started doing really well, which was pawaPass, sports betting company, then we saw that the founders actually didn't have the experience and the operational excellence in order to grow that company further. They took it so far, they couldn't take it further. So he stepped in and he decided to grow pawaPass himself. The founders stayed on as like local country managers. And then, of course, we have Tosin, otherwise known as Mr. Easy. So one of the companies we invested in was Easy's company, which was a refurbished mobile phone startup operating out of Computer Village in Lagos. That company failed, but Tosin, he went on to become a superstar. It's great for him. And what he did then was that he was always in contact with us and our companies, and he was able to unlock a lot of new markets for pawaPass, always staying in touch. When pawaPass wanted to empower young talent, they put money back into Easy so he could start Empower, his record label. When we first came, Crescent bought Nakura All-Stars, a football team, for example. And he learned through that football players in Africa are paid like shit, or they're not paid at all. And so one of the things, the ideas was, I had started pawaPass, which was like an anti-fraud user verification service. And they wanted to give bonuses to all football players in different leagues across Africa to encourage them to pursue it as a career. So with pawaPass, we went together and identified all of these sports athletes, and then they could get paid directly bonuses. pawaPay was a cost center. It was the payments department of pawaPass. And, you know, they hate cost centers. So that was spun out and turned into now what is a very important player in the mobile money aggregator space. And then when we were, discussing, tossing around ideas, and we have pawaPay, a mobile money aggregator, we have pawaPass, a complianceware, and pawaPass wanted to see how far they could take responsible gaming. What can we, encourage users to do besides just gambling their money? So we said, okay, with me advising and working with pawaPass for 10 years and noticing the power of games in Africa and how people are attracted to games and shy away from formal financial services, we decided to create Digmo, which I'm CEO of now, which is a gamified financial planning service for mass market Africans. And so using that kind of know-how and then the ecosystem around it, and then a lot of the shareholders in pawaPass and in 88 miles per hour, because pawaPass is able to unlock cash in the form of dividends, they were able to invest in all of these different companies as well, and ultimately able to invest in Powatown, which is a crazy free zone project I'm doing in Lesotho. So the point of all of this is I think that when you see and you look around the world and you see, PayPal mafia, you can see Paystack mafia, you see all these mafias everywhere, and thinking about a lot of people trying to build ecosystems, I think it's important to remember that what is lacking, like they were saying here, a lot of what is lacking is not just the capital, it's the operational excellence, it's that experience. These circles here is like, it looks like everyone's just trying to, do cool things and make money, but it's much more important than that. It's these clusters of trust where people share insights that you don't get access to on Google. It's where, you're quickly WhatsApping Nikolai at pawaPay and saying okay, what is the mobile money numbers really looking like? How can I do something with that? Or it's easy going oh, I've seen that this market and this market could be interesting. Do we want to go in there? And these clusters of trust, I think, and then the capital that comes from people who have earned it through operational excellence and have an incentive, a big incentive to help out beyond the capital. I think this is where you get these small mafias. And over time, I think if you look at Silicon Valley, you have now thousands of mafias from those early companies way back, 40 years back. You have, Paul Graham with Y Combinator, insanely good super entrepreneur that knows how to invest and create synergies between his investments and build ecosystems out like that. And that's why it doesn't happen in a day. And I think that it will be a long time before Africa gets there. But I think paying attention to those operators, those excellent, excellent operators, and seeing like where are they putting their money, what are they doing, and trying to build into that, I think could actually, you know, this over time, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this graph looks like in like 20 years. I think it will be amazing. Thank you very much.